The room filled to the brim at the Tower Club in Fort Lauderdale for the 8th Annual Chief Executive Officers of Management Companies Dinner. The speaker, a 6-time Hall of Famer and a legend in basketball and business.
Tonight we have a guest with an incredible story. He's won college national championships. He's been a professional basketball player, a teacher. He worked in the entertainment industry with the likes of Elvis. Worked for the actual KFC Colonel. Eventually became a business owner and franchisee himself, owning and operating more than 80 restaurants. And he's an author, among many other things that we will come to learn about him tonight. Please welcome George Tinsley.
Born and raised in Kentucky, George Tinsley launched several companies, including Tinsley Family Concessions. His extraordinary success in concessions and franchising was due to his overwhelming ability to overcome obstacles. It's also his motivation to now share that wisdom through speaking, coaching, and advising under his company, G.W. Tinsley Consulting Group.
As an athlete, I always prided myself in the fourth quarter and being in condition to be able to outlast my opponent in the fourth quarter, condition-wise. So as as that translated into everything else that I would be doing, that when times get tough, it's time to kick it into another gear and make that happen. And understand that it's not the end of the world when you run into a roadblock. You just got to figure your way around it, over top it, or
When I think of George Tinsley, I think of my childhood in Auburndale, Florida. When I would grow up, when I was going to basketball camps and Little League baseball, the Tinsley name and family were everywhere in Polk County, where I grew up. And when I also think of George now as an adult, I think of overcoming obstacles with opportunities.
Having an opportunity to work with KFC for 8 years in various different departments. I got to tell you, I started out as a trainer in the training department at KFC, and my first week there, I found out that I was going to be working with the Colonel. And you talk about being intimidated.
the Colonel would always come in the very first day, and he would come back the last day for graduation. And so we developed a relationship. It was a little rocky at first because the Colonel, he knew what he was doing, and I was trying to learn, but also I'm trying to teach these millionaires how to do that. So we learned to put up with each other, if you will, and later on became a working relationship. And so I worked with him for 3 years, off and on during that time, right up until the time he passed away.
So we want to talk to George about how can we best talk to and interact with our customers. His customers were people who were in the restaurant and food service industry, among other things. Our customers are people who live in their homes and who pay a lot of money for a quality of life and a cost of living that right now is under a lot of threat. So how can we learn from someone like George, who has the ability and who has certainly demonstrated the leadership and who believes in the culture of a company that knows how to deal with people? I've heard you say, George, you don't fight feedback, you correct.
My philosophy, learning from the Colonel, was that the customer is always right. Even when they're wrong, they're always right. So the goal was to make it right. No matter what that cost you, making it right. I would have customers complain about the chicken being greasy, and so I'd have to take them through a little educational process of that's not grease, it's moisture in the chicken, and so forth. And remember, this is finger licking good for the Colonel. So, and people appreciated that. They appreciated the honesty. They appreciated not being defensive.
I always believe it's interesting to try to hear what people say, but to understand what they actually mean. Can you talk about how you experience that and how you make that and translate that, what people actually say versus what they mean, and how to take that feedback?
Well, what I learned was in taking constructive feedback, tough constructive feedback as an athlete with some great coaching, was that it wasn't personal. It was trying to get me to be better. be better than I was at the time. So I translate that into the business of, first of all, eye contact, making sure that I maintain eye contact with that person that has an issue. And typically I try to repeat it back to them, not in a put down way, but to let them know that I understand what they're asking, and then fix it.
There are certain things that resonate regardless of the industry, because when it all comes back to, we live in a society and it's all about people. And George seems to have a gift for not only bringing out the best in himself, but finding the best in individuals and finding the way to make a team the best. He has run the #1 KFC in the country, and he's brought so many, over 80 restaurants to the top of their game.
So as we move forward, we're looking for people that want to be successful, people that are willing to work hard, set goals, follow the plan that we have in place in whatever we're doing. And I want to be able to, as I move through this fourth quarter, to be able to inspire, motivate, and train people to be able to meet those challenges.
But what makes George's accomplishments astounding is his beginnings. Abandoned by his mother at 7 months old, only to be raised by his babysitter, who had one leg and used a crutch.
Somehow I wound up with a lady who was keeping children in the neighborhood, who wound up with me. My mother didn't come back, and so she raised me from 7 months old until I was 13 years old. So during that particular period of time, she taught me a lot about God and being a good person, and all those valuable things. My seventh grade school teacher just fell in love with me and put me in a position to be successful and build my self-esteem, and that's where I started to taking a turn towards achieving goals. And so
George would go on to earn a scholarship playing basketball, where his team won national championships 3 out of the 4 years he attended. From there, he went on to win championships through the American Basketball Association and had hoped for a career in teaching and coaching. But instead of a career on the court, George Tinsley was going corporate through KFC.
Our success in KFC and success my other businesses is the repeat customer, getting that customer to come back. So the goal is every time someone walked in that door, you made them feel comfortable, you made them feel good about spending their hard-earned money. If that's opening the door for them, as a matter of fact, it's probably the first franchisee that actually had hostesses, senior citizens working in the lobby. And their job was to make those customers feel comfortable and let me know if there was a problem. 5 years after this KFC opened up, we've actually burned down to the ground. And during that time, we got a truck, put a warming cabinet in it, warming cabinet, a refrigeration unit, and put a little menu on the window and drove around the community selling chicken while we were building that store up. It was like the ice cream truck that goes through the everything. We had a little clock.
It is no surprise that George Tinsley is the author of The Determined Entrepreneur and working on a second book detailing his ability to go from obstacle to opportunity. But there was no greater challenge that George faced than when it came to his daughter, who became fatally ill. He talks about the importance of taking the time to take care of what matters most.
So one of the most wonderful things that a man can be blessed with is to have children who you can watch grow and become the best that they can be, and see them achieve. And unfortunately, sometimes you run into tough situations, which we did with my daughter, who became ill while performing up in New York as a model and actress. And having to bring her home because of an illness that she had. Fortunately, I was in position to be able to make time to make that happen. Some guys may have 100, 200, 300 restaurants and be strung out there, but not be able to take care of what's important in their lives. And so, fortunately, I was able to do that, and I had other relatives inside of our business that were able to take over certain things to make that happen. But as a business person and one who cares about the family, cares about the community, I felt that was very important to do that, because business.
Tinsley Family Concessions is just that, family. His wife, Sarita, and son, George Tinsley II, have played a vital role in the success of the company and their dedication to the community, something George wants to teach and train other entrepreneurs to do.
What matters most to me in my interaction with young entrepreneurs is to see them first listen and understand that this is it's hard work, and that their road is going to be different from my road. But if they approach it the same way, not giving up at the first smack upside the face that they get, that if they hang in there and they keep working towards it, that they'll realize success. And success is measured by what it means to you. And so once you get to step one, you're going to want to go to step two and then to step three, and you want to grow your business, but you don't want to. It's not going to happen overnight. So if that's your mental outlook, that only happens 1 in 100 times. And it's not always important that you have 100 restaurants. It's one successful restaurant. Then you can move to the next step and understand the business and understand how important your people are to your success. It's not about you. It's about the people who work for you, how you motivate them and train them to be the best that they can be.
You can learn more about George Tinsley at tinsleyspeaks.com.